Hello, my very dear Geminis. Listen, so this is cool. As soon as I started tuning in on your energy, I saw you on a kind of balance board, but it was a playful kind of thing. And you're standing on this platform that's shifting like this. And you are very, very nimbly running to one side, then to the other, so that you don't get thrown off the board. And whereas I feel in the past, what they're showing me is the comparison, is that in the past, if it had tilted, first of all, the tilt would have created a little panic. And if it was too great a tilt, you would not have been able to move around to bring it back into balance. Rather, it would have gone kind of boof like this, and you would have been hanging onto the edge until it straightened itself out. So I love this image, Gemini, because whether or not you're at the state where you are currently balancing it with great agility, or whether or not you're still a little bit struggling with maintaining that inner balance, what I feel is this is for the parts of the collective that are already doing it and the ones that would like to do it and are working towards that. So what this tells me is that for those of you who've already figured this out, let's go with that first. It feels to me as though what you have done is you have learned one of the things that has been foundational for you, Gemini, and this is also for the ones who are working towards it, is there's a really fine line between humility and where humility goes into being almost self-deprecating. And that can come from a sense of feeling inadequate as a child. And that will often come up as shame, depending upon how our parents disciplined us, and what the model was for trying to keep us in line. Because if guilt was used, if the guilting mechanism was used, then that can often lead to a child feeling ashamed and shameful and carrying that forward as kind of like a ground substance for how they approach the world, never feeling like they're enough. Or always feeling like they have to apologize for themselves. And of course, that can come from many different situations in families. Often if there's a lot of chaos in a family, a lot of disturbance due to finances or medical stuff or just general emotional that goes on sometimes in families, the kids will often take it on as being their fault for whatever reason. It's really specifically because by believing it's their fault, psychologists say it gives them this sense of control that if it's their fault, they could potentially fix it, right? Which can very often lead Gemini into the needing to take care role, right? Or the over responsibility. Now, the cool thing here is that what I see is the fact that you're learning to balance this board means you have much greater stability in your sense of who you are and your value and what you're capable of. And it goes way far beyond just confidence and being able to handle things. Having done that, it has transformed something in you that has kind of opened that gap to however narrow or however wide it is for you as an individual. It's opened that gap into really feeling the nature of who you are at a deeper level. Whatever language you use to define that, it's coming through with a quality of power, with a quality of the ability to respond to things in ways that are good for you and that are more curiosity oriented than fear oriented. Okay, so what does that mean? That means, something went on at work and now 3 positions are getting cleared and it's a small company and you can get fearful, or you can go, I wonder why that happened. And I wonder if that's going to affect me. Now, what would be? So you see, it's that ability to respond rather than react all the time. Now, what I'm getting here for you guys is this, and you people. I'm trying to be politically correct with my language. It's a challenge. Excuse me. But it's fine. So clear and clean. This for me is saying, okay, this is where you get to really look at any of the old stuff that's coming up that is creating a tendency for you to temporarily restrict your ability to balance things. So when I say balance things, we're talking about energy because everything goes back to energy, right? So let's look at it, say, in terms of a new relationship or a new job or having to move and negotiate a lease or a mortgage or whatever. There are so many different kinds of things that can trigger instability in our emotions based on where our negative experiences or our traumas or, repetitive themes that have been uncomfortable have occurred. What this is saying to you is, okay, look, when that comes up, double check with where there is an underlying sense of inadequacy, and don't just say, well, that's the way I am. You have the ability to respond to that, and you have the ability to breathe and notice how those feelings change as you just embrace them. It's not about shutting them out or pretending they're not there, and it's not about making them grandiose and honoring them. It's there. That's it. I embrace that energy as part of me, or having been part of me. And now as I breathe, can I watch it change? Because as much as we can feel caught by our psychology and by the patterns of thought we have, it's really important to remember that we can change them. And while in the old days, when I started doing all this kind of energy stuff, back in my 20s, there was no science to support it. It was all, metaphysical stuff from sometimes centuries past that spoke about our ability to change these things without having the scientific understanding of why. We just knew, those of us who were doing it just knew it was true. Now, gratefully, there is science to prove all this, that deliberately changing your thought patterns is going to change your body chemistry. It's going to allow you to create new neural patterns and the ability to think in different ways. But it can't happen unless we question it. And it can't happen unless we decide we would like it to be different. And how would we like it to be different? Well, it's like, what can you clear and clean? What old attitudes, what old thoughts can you be aware of, whether they're still really operating in you or whether or not they come up from time to time still? What can you look at? How can you move towards moving that energy, transmuting that energy into something that is life enhancing instead of life destructive? One of the ways is to slow down, calm down. And I know for Gemini that can be challenging because your mind works very quickly. Air signs, their thoughts very often are like this. And Geminis, what I notice of all the air signs, Geminis seem to be the one that are the most inclined to go from here to here to here to here very, very quickly and on different subjects. And so what you're being encouraged to do in order to help make those shifts is to do only one thing at a time and breathe. So do only one thing at a time and breathe. Basically, what these two cards are really suggesting for you is when you start finding yourself panicking about managing that balance board, or when you fear that it's going to start shifting, slow yourself down by allowing yourself to do one thing at a time instead of multitasking, and breathe. That's part of the way that you ground your energy and you slow it so that you can reflect inward instead of being all scattery outward, okay? And focus also on the things that you like about yourself. What are the positive qualities? When you start doubting yourself within this balance board situation, before it goes way off and you go down the rabbit hole of thinking about all the things about you that are not right that could be causing a problem, allow yourself to stop and say, respond. You have the ability and say no. there's more going on here than what I know in regards to why this situation is playing out with the other variables in there, the other people. What do I know about myself that I like? What can I stand on here right now and call into my center to stabilize my core? Because stabilizing your core is what's going to allow you to know how to move on the balance board of emotion. Stabilizing your core gives you the ability to change your thoughts as you need to, and that's where you stabilize the board. Okay? So it's not vain for you to say, you know what I really like about me? I really like the fact that I am a genuinely good person, that I genuinely like to see people well. I really like the fact that I can respond well in an emergency. I really like the fact that I'm learning to be more self-aware and to set healthy boundaries. I really like that. I really like my figure. I really like the way I look in clothes, and I really like the fact that that at this age, I still have a figure that I had when I was in my 40s. Whatever. And these are, I like the fact that I'm really good with animals. I like the fact that I am really comfortable being alone, even though I enjoy company. There's so many different things. I really, really like my intellect. I like the fact that I am intelligent and I can think quickly and clearly. These are all different things I'm pulling up around Gemini people that I know and that I know are qualities of Gemini. So these are things that are really powerful because it puts you first in observer mode. You're standing back and you're acknowledging. So as soon as you're in observer mode, you're in a higher frequency. And the other thing is you are nurturing yourself and you are loving yourself. As you are observing these things and enforcing them, what you're doing is you are building your own sense of self, your own sense of self-confidence. And what you're doing is you're reminding yourself of what your value is. Because usually this kind of a thing emotionally is because we're starting to question what our value is. Now, remember, this does not mean, stabilizing this does not mean you do everything perfectly. Stabilizing this means you are wonderfully human. You can make mistakes. You can have echoes from the past come and tap you on the shoulder where you go, really? Is it true? You can have all of that happen. This and saying, I really like this, and breathing and slowing down and realizing that you have the ability to change patterns of thought and belief about who you are and what you're able to do. That you're able to get rid of all of that. That is a beautiful thing. And it's doable. And what you're also getting is, in the humility, you're getting a particular, the way humility is expressed in this particular pack. It's saying, remember that there's more than just you. It's not just you who's assessing the situation. There may be more that's going on here that you haven't thought of. So that's another way when you're about to, go this way on the balance board. You go, oh, wait a minute, Ray. Yeah, there may be something going on here I don't know. And I'm going to trust that there is a benevolent universe involved here. Okay? And that whatever I think I know that's making me want to go like this, maybe that's not accurate. Maybe there's not, maybe there's more. And you also get the intuition card, the play with your intuition card. And I like this because what this reminds you of is as you're going like this, okay, what you're getting to see is by deliberately playing with your intuition, by engaging your intuition more deliberately, what you start doing is you start developing a sense of connectedness to the unified field around you. So it's now not just your core that's aligning and getting strengthened. It's your matrix around you that you become more aware of, and therefore becomes more tangible and feels more like a security to you. So that also helps contain you in this. It's like you're not going to fly off. You've got a field around you that's holding you, that you are in, that you are connected to. And that has great information coming to you. Okay? So listen, Gemini, I'm going to leave it with that because I think there's nothing but beautiful stuff here. For those of you who are already doing this, this is the way to continue. For those of you who are wanting to do it, and on the verge of it, I suggest you go back and listen to it again and pull out what I'm highlighting as technique, because I think it's quite clear. The main thing is, remember, you have the ability to. Science now supports you in this. It's not just a matter of believing it's possible for everybody else but not for me because my mind gets in the way. No, sorry. You have the power. You have the power to change your mind. Literally, to change the way your mind functions. Okay, Gemini? Take care.